She is a singer, actor, comedian, and just an amazing, wonderful, generous, loving person. And you need to know her name. It is Roxanne Reese. You have been such a big influence for me as an
Mm.
artist. I just got to see you do process. You know, people's process is personal. And to be able to see somebody's personal process for me is like a big blessing. So, what opened the door for you to act?
Well, I was at Howard University, attending Howard University, majoring in sociology. And I was walking across campus and I saw the Fine Arts Building. And just spirit within, just go in. And I went in and I sat in on Vera Katz's acting class, the teacher there, Vera Katz. I sat in on her acting class and I said, I want to do that. So I enrolled in the classes. And by the end of the year, or as it was time to graduate, I won the Owen Dotson Award at Howard University for Best Actress. And I got the bug. I loved acting so much. I loved the process. I loved the attention. And it was time to spread my wings. And I didn't want to leave my mother, but I knew there was a calling. I had to go. And New York was the best place for theater, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And so I left DC and went to New York and stayed with my cousin Susan and her family. And I stayed in the Bronx and I made my rounds. And then I ended up getting a bus and truck show, feeling good, you know, going out on the road. And then I did No Place Chuck Cadone's No Place to Be Somebody. And then the gentleman I was going with at the time, Les Roberts, where are you, Les? Where are you, Les? But anyway, he said, Roxanne, you need to go down to the public theater because they're doing auditions for understudies for color girls. And so I was reluctant about going down, but I did. And I went down there and auditioned, and I got understudy.
There might be a lot of people who don't know the history of For Color Girls, who consider Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough. That
Yeah.
when that play hit Broadway, it was monumental. We
Yes.
had never seen anything like it. First of all, it was seven black women on
Yes.
stage,
Yes.
raw, just telling truth through poetry. It was
And thing.
phenomenal.
I was in the show for about 5 months as an understudy, covering, I think, most all the other roles, except for Trezana Beverly's role, Lady in Red. And I was up in my dressing room, hooking a rug, minding my business, being just as happy, hooking my rug and loving all the ladies in the show. And Oz Scott, the director of For Color Girls, came up to my dressing room and said, Roxanne, Janet Leigh is leaving the show, and I want you to go in to the show. And I looked at him and I said, for what? You know, I was happy. I didn't want to be that kind of responsibility. He said, because I want your energy. I want you in the show. So anyway, I went in the show and ended up being on Broadway and For Color Girls. My name, Roxanne Reese, for 2 years. 2 years on Broadway. What a gift.
So to
Yeah.
be thrusted in onto that big stage, even as an understudy, what did you learn stepping into the lead? Because now you're the lady in
One,
brown.
I took my skills from Howard and Vera Katz, and I was grateful that I was in a position to create. And I was in a position to create and express myself and give my gift and to be a part of something huge.
Do you remember one specific performance that either shifted you or made you get that you were present in that moment?
I remember while I was doing Toussaint, that poem especially, I remembered a response from an audience member. It was something very subtle, but I connected with that audience member. I connected with what they said, that they were really appreciative of what I was doing and that they felt what I was trying to convey on that stage. It was like it was just me and that one person.
What was your next step? What did you have an idea of what you wanted to do next?
Well, I stayed in for Colored Girls until it closed.
Okay.
I wasn't going anywhere because I got a chance to go on vacation for 2 weeks with pay, so I wasn't going anywhere until that show closed. And I was so sad it did, but everything good as everything ends. So anyway, I was looking for my next gig. New York, the actors in New York back then, we had a sense of family and community. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If I went up on something and I didn't feel I was right for it, the other actor say, Roxanne, you ought to go. You ought to go check this audition out.
So you were doing shows in New York. You were just
Oh
working
no!
shows.
Then I did some theater, and then I got a television show that filmed in Lexington, Kentucky, called Reader's Tube, and so I did that. So I would get. Then I went to Springfield, Massachusetts, and did a regional theater. I did a Raisin in the Sun playing Beneatha, and with Janet Leigh, who I replaced on Broadway. She was Ruth, and so I would get theater gigs here and there. But one day my friend came to visit me, Jeff Johnson, who lives in Atlanta. He said, Reese, he called me by my last, Reese, you need to come out to California and get some television work. And so he sent me a ticket. I went out there and stayed with him a little while. And then I was able to get some television work. My first show, I think, was Hill Street Blues.
And you were going back and forth for a period of time.
Yes, I was bi-coastal. And, I did my one-woman show in New York. If nobody hired me, I hired myself.
So let's talk about that. What made you decide, I'm going to do a one-woman show? Because first of all, that wasn't popular at that time, right? There wasn't a lot of people doing cabaret, let alone a one-person show.
Right. Yeah, it was called the Grand Finale. I did my one-woman show because, Lydia, creative people have to create. If we don't stay in a state of creativity, whether it's writing a poem or whatever, it turns on us. The gift turns on us.
Yes.
We start developing all kinds of neuroses. You have to have that element of expression. You have to be able to express yourself. So that's the way I feel about it anyway. And so I knew I had to create my own and hope with the possibility of getting work. Yes. Somebody coming to see me and saying, "Oh yeah, we ought to use her for something. We ought to use her for that." So that's what I did.
And then when you came to Los Angeles and you started working in television and film, what made you decide to go, you know what, it's time for me to do another one-person show?
Lack of work.
Okay.
It wasn't coming in as consistent as I would have liked it. LA's spread out, so is your work. You know what I mean? At least for some people. Some people work all the time. Right. I wasn't one of them. Between those times when I wasn't working, I said, okay, well, let me create my own and maybe somebody come and see me.
Right. The fact that you keep plugging away and you keep putting your art out there is courageous, and I love it. Because you should always be working. I mean, and I love when you're doing your one-person shows and you get up there and you're performing and you're singing and you're doing your comedy and you're acting. It is a great show, and it should be on Broadway. You should be back on Broadway by yourself doing all your wonderful characters.
Well, I'm very proud of the last one-woman show I did, Portraits of Love. I think that was really I've since watched it over again and go, wow, that's a good show. It's a really good show. So
it might be time to bring it back out.
Yeah, it might be time to bring it back out. Yeah, Portraits of Love too. I got to get over this thing called aging. You know what I mean? It's something that I'm wrestling with right now.
Did you ever get to see Elaine Stritch do?
Yes, Liberty? I did. I watched it, and yeah.
Okay, so let me tell you, she was 80 kicking ass, and she was ageless on that stage. I saw her 5 times down at the Amundsen. I was like, oh my God, I can never say anything about age. But at that time, she was doing her one-woman show, 8 shows.
Yeah, I know.
Over 80. So
yeah, and Rita Moreno.
Yes.
Rita Moreno too, still out there, kicking it, and Chica Rivera was still out there. So yeah, I know, but just
Get it
You
out
know,
of
I
your
just
head. Get
it's
it
I gotta get
out.
out of my head. I gotta get out of
Yeah.
my head.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
once again, it takes money to put those shows up.
Well, it might be time for a Kickstarter. Might be time to say, we want to take this to Broadway. Help us.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
we
it's
we
doable.
did take it to the National Black Theater Festival in 2017. Just lost my mother in June, and then I had to, do the show in August. But I did it. I went on and did it because in Portraits of Love, my mother is and my father and my family are featured. So I wanted to, really honor my mother that way.
Let's talk a little bit about acting process.
Hmm.
Um, because not only are you a phenomenal artist, but you're also a really wonderful coach and director.
Well, I think it comes from, my acting experience, my teaching, my orientation at Howard University with Vera Katz, taking my acting classes. And then when graduating from Howard, going to New York and taking more acting classes, Stanislavski method, and stuff like that. So sense of memory, honing in on your own experiences and breathe life into those different characters. Most of our generation, we come from theater. We come from discipline. Everybody wants to be an actor. Everybody thinks they're an actor. Everybody doesn't want to do the work that it takes. We've studied. I have experience and I have study behind me. And I'm grateful for that. It was a whole different ball game when we were coming up in terms of acting, but everybody wants to be an actor now. Everybody
Yeah.
thinks they are.
What else do you think an actor needs, a young actor needs in their toolbox, in addition to being prepared? When they come with their toolbox, what else should be in that toolbox?
Self care. That's something that I'm just learning to demonstrate or to execute for myself. Self care. You have to, because we have to love ourselves because there is a lot of rejection. There is a lot of competition. We have to love ourselves and love who we are. We have to take it. We have to find our spiritual foundation, whatever that is. God, source, Buddha, whatever it is, Jesus, whatever it is. Everybody got their thing. Everybody marches to a different drummer. So you got to go with what works for you. So I say, you got to have a strong spiritual base, something that keeps you grounded, something that keeps you loving yourself and not focusing on man. And like you said earlier, accepting what somebody else or somebody says something to you for you to ingest that, for you to take that on.
Disconnect. It's
Yeah.
disconnecting from others so that you can show up in your best.
Yes. Yes.
It's walking like you are that one woman show, because when you show up as that, doing that one person show, it's just you. So
Yes.
you
Yes.
have to give all you have. And while you're performing, you're not thinking, are they going to like me? Because you got a
Yeah.
whole show you got to get through.
Right. You got
You
yeah, you can't worry about that. That takes energy.
That's
If I'm
right.
if I'm writing something I say, oh, I hope they like this, hope they like that's energy. That's taken away from what I'm writing. That's taken away from what I can write and then give it. And whoever receives it, whoever needs it, whoever is transformed by it or from it, then I've done my job.
You always do your job. Not 50%, but
Mhm.
150%. You always show up, and you're always the most gracious, most kind person in the room. That was the thing that attracted me to you in the first place. So many people are so insecure, so when you meet somebody that you just feel, they lift your spirit without saying
Mhm.
anything, just seeing them go, oh my god, I'm so excited, I'm so excited. And to me, that's something that every artist should aspire to have people around them that make them feel like that. There's a saying that says you are the sum total of the five people you hang around with. So you have to be careful who you
Mhm.
hang
Mhm.
with,
Yes.
because they
Yes.
will dim your light. They
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
make you feel less than, and then you're walking around like, "What's wrong with me? Why do I feel bad?" It's like, 'cause look at these motherfuckers you're hanging out with.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not
And
they're not feeding you in the
yes,
proper way.
that is our first and foremost purpose, I believe, to give service to one another, to be a light for one another, especially those that you love and that love you. I was given the opportunity to express myself so that in me expressing my gifts, that it will transform your life so you can continue to express yours in this lifetime. And that I want to do it always and be the best person that I'm capable of being from a place of love and a place of kindness. I don't always succeed. And if I don't succeed, I apologize. I'm working through stuff too. It depends on, what day it is, but I'm not a vicious person. I'm a loving person. I get that from my family, my mom and my dad and my sisters. We're a loving family. And my friends. And I want to always be a light, be of service. And I appreciate the opportunities to be able to do that whenever I can. And I'm grateful for that. And that's the legacy I want to leave, is that Roxanne Reese, in the expression of Roxanne Reese, evolved to her highest potential in this lifetime as a wonderful, loving, and kind human being. And we do that through our art, through our interaction with one another, through just being. That's our purpose. Our purpose really is to be and to be of service and to love one another.
Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for watching this interview, and let us know in the comments below what you thought of it, and if you have any suggestions or you have any ideas, or tell us how you take care of yourself. I would love to hear. Now coming up is another wonderful interview, another wonderful piece of information to help you on your journey. Until next time, enjoy.